Hello, how are you? I'm well. I haven't done one of these videos for a little while and I kind of feel like I start every single recording in that manner. And I suppose I feel that way because I do that, and it's only because I promise myself that I'm going to do like 2 videos a week and it just never happens. So I always feel like I need to acknowledge that I've been really rubbish. Don't know why I'm doing this with my hands, but it feels really good. So weird. Anyway, let's move on. I suppose I haven't done a recording for a little while because it's just been really busy my end, like life's just got in the way. A few things have happened. So obviously I had my birthday, and then I have moved, which we will talk about in a moment. I know what you're thinking. Oh, sweet man, like your place looks amazing. Thanks. And then the third thing being is that I started my new job last week. So yeah, there's just been a lot of change. It's interesting actually because at the start of 2018, I saw 2018 with my mate Mike, and I promised myself, and I also promised Mike because I wanted that sense of accountability, that 2018 was going to be amazing. And the start of 2018, yeah, it looked really promising. But there were a couple of things that just happened that I wasn't happy about. So I changed them. And I know that perhaps sounds really, it might sound really easy, and in many respects it might sound quite naive and ignorant of me, because there's a lot of people out in the world that are unable to change their circumstances. But for me, personally, I was able to change them, and I'm very thankful that I was able to change them, and I'm very aware that I am very lucky in that respect. And because I was able to change them, I changed them. So whilst I loved the people that I worked with at my old job, I just wasn't using my brain. So that I've changed, which I'm really happy about. I've moved house 2 times this year. The first one it was kind of forced upon me, and then I moved in with this weird guy I mentioned in an old recording, and I won't go into too much detail because it's just, the overview is that this guy came into my bedroom on 3 occasions and he declared that he was the daddy. No. It's not working. So I gave him my notice. We'll get to my hair in a second. And so I decided to change my living situation. So now I live in the centre of Bournemouth and it's awesome. So the reason why I thought I would say hello is because I would like to acknowledge 2 things, really. Dos things. First one being my climbing, because I've been climbing for 1.5 years now. Oh, more than, like nearly 2 years. It'd be 2 years in August. So that needs to be acknowledged. And then the second one being, I did something over the weekend that I've never done before, and it's perhaps the most grown-up thing that I've ever done in my entire life. So I feel like I need to acknowledge that. And you may be able to guess what it is just by the title alone, but let's just pretend, let's just humour each other that you have no idea. But before I get to those 2 things, let's acknowledge how ridiculous my hair looks. So I know what you're thinking. Emmy, you could have brushed your hair before you press play on this camera. And you're right. I could have done, but I just didn't. And I'm sure I'll regret this later on, but for the time being, whatever. So my camera died on me. Great. It was probably getting really bored of my stories, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I just didn't. I just didn't. So let's talk about my climbing first. And you're probably thinking, Emmy, you look so strong. Your arms are so fit. Look how pitiful that looks. Although, nah, it looks alright. I feel like I have got a lot better at climbing. And I know that might sound really silly, but I'm talking like even within the last couple of weeks, like I've noticed a difference. And ultimately, like the only real difference is that I'm trying harder. And I'm trying stuff that initially I wouldn't even consider, just because I would always think, oh yeah, it's not for me. That colour's not for me. Or no, I won't try that. That's not a route for me. But in actual fact, like, sometimes I'm surprising myself. I will take you climbing with me. And you can tell me how strong I am. Because that will bring me a lot of joy. Anyway, and the second thing, whilst I have your attention, is at the weekend I went to the bank and I had a conversation with my bank manager, or a bank manager, about buying a house. And she did like a little calculation as to like how much money she'll give me, or loan to me as it were, and it's terrifying. So within the next 6 months, 8 months max, maybe 9, probably 6 months, it is a real conceivable thought process that I'm going to have my own house. It's terrifying. But it's also really exciting, which kind of brings me on to the next point, which is interlinked with the second point, because there is only 2 points. Like, there's 1 and 2A and 2B. We'll talk about 2B. So, 2B or not to be. Anyway, get to the point. Yeah, so the second point of the second point, I have been thinking for the last, I don't know, like a year, I'd say, maybe even 2, about doing and creating my own vegan recipe YouTube channel. And the idea that sometime in the future that I could have my own vegan cookbook, like, honestly, like, so when I have my own place, I'm going to do a lot of recipes. I suppose I could do it now, but it's just really not feasible, just because I share this apartment with somebody else and like to set up a camera and all of that sort of stuff. Like, it's just not, it's not the right time. But when I have my own kitchen, it will be. Did you hear like my voice cracking? Like, that's how excited I am. Yeah, so stay tuned for that, because it's gonna be so good. But for the time being, I'm just gonna have to show you my apartment. Stop fiddling. I'm gonna show you my apartment in the next couple of videos. I'm gonna take you climbing with me, and then maybe we can just eat on camera together. Yeah, I suppose I was gonna say that I would see you in Canada, but I'm not in Canada for 3 weeks now, so I'm sure that I will post before then, but I will definitely see you in Canada with my friend Noemi. I'm so excited. Right, I'm gonna love you and leave you, but have a wonderful week, and I will speak to you later.